Congratulations, Megumi. You're making a kid who is actively trying to live his life without his powers live without his powers. My first thought when Megumi presented this whole idea of putting Mob in a world where he has absolutely no psychic abilities was, well, how's that any different from what Mob's already doing? Because as I mentioned, Mob is already actively trying to live without the use of his powers. But the deeper I thought about it, and the more I looked into what Megumi had to say, the more I started worrying for Mob and what he'll be going through next episode. You see, Mob was born with these powers. He didn't awaken to them due to some stressful experience like, say, Ritsu did. He's had these powers since he was a kid and suppressed his emotions due to his fear of what he could do if he was ever completely consumed by them. Mob also has his own set of morals, and through the teachings of Reigen, believes that he should not use his psychic powers to hurt people. Though, as we saw in the 7th Division arc, he's not opposed to putting his morals aside if he absolutely has to. And that's where things get tricky. Mob, regardless of the situation he's in, is making the choice to not use his power. Last episode, when we saw Mob almost get mugged, he chose to not do anything about the bullies. Mob, whether he's aware of it or not, knows that if things get too crazy, if things get too out of control, he can easily handle the situation by using his powers. Whether he causes harm and completely destroys somebody like he did Kageyama, or harmlessly stops somebody from doing whatever they're doing like he did many times this episode, Mob always has that option available to him. So what Megumi is essentially asking, the reason he's doing all of this to Mob is because he wants to see what Mob would do if he didn't have that option. What if Mob didn't have a choice other than to take the shit the world has to throw at him? And while that does raise many concerns, it's not the only reason I'm worried for Mob. Megumi mentions how negative emotions are stronger than positive ones and how a shift in perspective is all Mob needs. We are who we are due to our experiences, and while Mob has suffered a lot, he's also been protected from a lot, and the people who protect him are his friends. His friends keep him in check and protect him from a lot of the cruelties he would otherwise have to face. Just now, think of all the relationships Mob has formed due to his psychic powers. Reigen, Tsubomi, Hanazawa. He probably wouldn't have joined the Body Improvement Club if it weren't for his psychic powers and his desire to not let his psychic powers define him, so those relationships are gone, and who knows how different Mob's relationship with Ritsu will change, because without his powers, without that drive to become a better person, what does Ritsu have to look up to? Everybody who protects Mob from said cruelties will also be gone, and that leaves Mob alone to face these cruelties and alone to harbor all of these negative emotions. Mob has always been a person who believes in one's potential to change. That's been made clear to us since last season in his confrontation with Hanazawa, but we got reminded of that potential to change this episode as well. Not only with Matsuo now out of Claw and running an honest business, but with the faith Mob is now willing to put in Dimple despite his questionable actions last episode. And yes, I also believe people can change. However, there's two sides to every coin, so I'm also aware of the fact that people can change for the better, just as they can change for the worse, as demonstrated by Megumi himself. And like I said, I'm scared. I'm genuinely frightened to see how this world Megumi created will change Mob. This episode, while making me very uneasy with everything that happened to Mob and, I don't know, the death of a fucking character, also had its fair share of brilliant comedic and character moments as per usual. Specifically with Reigen, it was nice seeing him back to his dominating ways. The fact that he was able to beat every Esper in rock, paper, scissors and tell that there was something genuinely wrong with Minori after just having a conversation with her was a great way to bring Reigen back up after he made some mistakes last episode. And I'm curious to see if Reigen or even Dimple will be able to do anything in order to help Mob and once again protect him. But I'm even more curious to read any thoughts you had about this episode. So talk about what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you got from this episode, or anything I didn't mention in the video. And if you're an anime only, tell me some of the predictions you may have. Also, if you're a manga reader, let me know how you felt Bones adapted these chapters. But as always, keep your comments spoiler free. I appreciate all comments, so whatever you decide to put down there, I'll reply whenever I can. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Feel free to follow me on Twitter for updates, or if you just want to interact with me. And chances are, if you're watching this video, you're not yet subscribed to the channel, so make sure you hit that big red subscribe button alongside the bell. Notifications have been iffy all the time, but especially recently. So by clicking that bell and following me on Twitter, you're guaranteeing that you don't miss a video. That way, you can keep on watching Mob Psycho 100 and many other series with me. And with that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.